The train moves through the Siberian night. Outside, the taiga is black glass. Inside this carriage, the only light is the one we cast on the chart. I am Orion. This is not a lecture for beginners or for those still collecting planetary keywords. This is for postmodern astrologers, those who have already deconstructed the old certainties and now need new instruments precise enough for a fractured age. Postmodern astrology correctly dismantled the idea of a single fixed fate. Yet in doing so, many practitioners lost rigor. Charts became mood boards. Transits became content. We need techniques that honor complexity without dissolving into vagueness. Technique 1. The Shadow Transit Ledger. Most of us track outer planet transits to natal planets. That is necessary but incomplete. The Shadow Transit Ledger requires you to record every major outer planet transit not only to the natal chart, but to the progressed chart and to the solar arc chart simultaneously. You then note the emotional and biographical echo that appears in the client's life 3 to 9 months later. Over time, a personal ledger of delay signatures emerges. Some people live their Pluto squares in real time. Others experience the full force only when the progressed moon later activates the same degree. This ledger turns vague, "Pluto is transforming you" statements into timed, testable predictions of when the underworld material actually surfaces. Technique 2. The Fractured Ascendant Protocol. In a postmodern world, many clients no longer have a single coherent identity. Their charts show multiple strong angles or a highly aspected vertex and east point. The Fractured Ascendant Protocol treats the natal ascendant, the vertex, and the east point as 3 competing identity operating systems. You cast 3 mini-charts, each with one of these points as ascendant, and read the resulting house emphasis. The client's lived experience is usually the oscillation between these 3 systems. The technique predicts which identity system will dominate during specific transit periods by watching which of the 3 angles is most heavily triggered. Technique 3. Collective Field Resonance Mapping. Postmodern life is saturated with collective fields: social media storms, political convulsions, economic shocks. Standard astrology underestimates how strongly these fields can override personal timing. Collective field resonance mapping begins by identifying the client's most sensitive natal degrees, usually the sun, moon, ascendant, and any planet within 2 degrees of a fixed star. You then track when those degrees are activated by the current lunar cycle or by stationing outer planets in the sky, regardless of whether a personal transit is exact. When the collective sky hits the client's sensitive degrees, the personal chart is temporarily drafted into the larger field. This explains sudden, out-of-character events that personal transits alone cannot account for. Case Study 1. A 38-year-old software architect, natal Pluto in the 10th house, square a 10th house sun. Standard reading: career power struggles, possible fall and rise. Using the Shadow Transit Ledger, we discovered that his progressed moon activated the Pluto-Sun square 19 months after the primary transit. Only then did the actual corporate betrayal and subsequent reinvention occur. The ledger correctly timed the visible crisis to the progressed activation, not the original transit. Case Study 2. A visual artist with a highly aspected vertex and a relatively quiet natal ascendant. Under the Fractured Ascendant Protocol, the vertex chart showed a heavy 5th and 12th house emphasis. During a period when Neptune transited her vertex, she abandoned a stable gallery career and entered a 3-year phase of solitary, almost monastic image-making that later defined her public reputation. The protocol predicted the dominance of the vertex identity system. The life followed. These techniques do not replace classical methods. They sit on top of them, restoring precision where postmodern sensitivity has sometimes produced diffusion. The train continues through the dark. The charts remain open. Astrology, practiced at this intensity, is no longer entertainment or even therapy. It is a form of navigation through a world that no longer offers single maps. Keep your ledgers. Watch the competing ascendants. Feel when the collective field drafts your sensitive degrees. The night is long. The work is exact. This transmission ends here.